welcome to Monday Momentum. This is, as usual, our weekly 20-minute power session. And the whole purpose of it is it's really just designed to help you start your week strong with clarity, purpose, and take action. So today we will be tackling the biggest success secrets, which is consistency over motivation, right? How do we show up even when you don't feel like it? Because let's be real, how many of you have set like big goals, something that is very motivating, only for you to lose steam within like a few weeks, right? Or even sometimes a few days. Think about New Year's resolution. We talk about this all the time. If this sounds familiar, drop a fire or drop a yes in the chat. But how many of us really have big plans and we get motivated for a few days and then it just like dwindles? So what happens is that the problem is not lack of motivation, right? It's that motivation is unreliable. It comes and it goes, but if you think about consistency, that's what separates successful people from everyone else. It's those people who choose to be consistent, who choose to show up every day. That is the most important thing. Because here's the truth, right? Those people that you admire, the people who you love, the people who you're like, oh, these people have it together, right? They are not more motivated than you, right? They just trained themselves to always show up, even when they don't feel like it. And that's the difference. They decided that they're going to be consistent no matter what. And so today, I want us to understand, how these people remain consistent and what we can do not to rely on motivation. So we're going to talk about why motivation fails and how we can fix it. We're going to talk about building systems that keep you consistent. We've talked about this in one of our recent prior webinars of how you just need to how systems are the key to success. And then we're also going to talk about a little bit about the power of identity-based habits. So who do we need to become in order to achieve those goals? And then at the end of it all, we'll wrap it up with some just like practical strategies on how to stay on track, right? So let's get started. The first thing I want us to talk about is a hard truth and the hard truth is, or the hard question that you want to ask yourself is, how many of you believe that motivation is a liar? And if you're honest with yourself, everyone should probably toss their hands up, because I'll ask you a follow-up question, right? How many times have you felt excited about a goal? Think New Year's resolution, lose weight, going to the gym, starting a business, waking up early. How many of you have felt excited about that goal? Like it motivated you, like, yes, this is my year, new me, best me, only for motivation to disappear within like a few days, right? So the question is, why is that happening? And I think it's because motivation is based on emotion, right? And our emotions are very unpredictable. So some days you feel extra. You're like, today is the day I'm going to do it. And then some days you're just like, you know what? I don't feel like it. I'm just going to roll over in bed, right? What is the fix? The fix is to rely on systems and not feelings. So I think almost everyone here has read the book, The Atomic Habits. If you haven't, you should. It's by James Clear. And he said something that was very, very profound. He said, you don't rise to the level of your goal, you fall to the level of your systems. So that means that if you only work when you feel like it, you will fail. So if you're just like, today I'll work, tomorrow you won't feel like it, you're not going to succeed, right? But if you create systems that force you to take action every time, I guarantee you this, you will win. And that's the difference where, with what he said, where it's like we fall to the level of our system. So if you have systems in place, then you are more likely to like achieve this, to crush this, and to take this to the next level. I always use this example of like brushing your teeth, right? The brushing your teeth example. Do you brush your teeth because you're motivated? No. You brush your teeth because it's a habit. It's part of your routine. It's something that you've come to continuously do, and it almost feels like a built-in system. That is how success works, right? The goal today, and like as you start the week, as you get excited about this week, is that the goal is not to get you motivated, right? The goal is to get you disciplined. And that comes with consistency. That comes with taking action. That comes with building systems. That comes with following on your habits. That's how you have to start thinking about it. So the third thing that I want to kind of talk about is the identity shift, right? To become the person that shows up all the time, to be that person that's like, I'm always going to show up. I'm making that decision to do that. And this is where I think most people go wrong, right? They focus on the what they need to do instead of who you need to become. And I talk about this with my team all the time. It's like, who is that person that you need to become in order to show up, in order to be able to do this thing, in order to be able to accomplish that task? So the big shift that I want you to embrace is to now act like the person that you want to be. So you might not be there yet, but imagine if you acted like that person. Imagine if you started saying the right thing, right? So instead of saying, like, I need to work out, you could say, I am the kind of person that never skips a workout. Or you could say, I'm the kind of person who is like, who has grown muscle to be like whoever your favorite workout person is. But like, instead of I need to do this, now embrace that person, embrace that mentality. I'm the kind of person that shows up. I'm the kind of person that never misses a workout. I am healthy. Those things are the things that you start telling yourself that you begin to believe. So then this one is specific for me, right? I need to wake up early. Instead of saying I need to wake up early, which is like, okay, fine. If I do it, great. If I don't, but what if I say I am the kind of person who gets up early and dominates my day every single day? What if that becomes me? What if that becomes the person that I become? It's like, yes, I can do those things. Like, I can do hard things. I can wake up and crush my day. And that's because I woke up early. And it's no longer like I need to wake up early. It's like, yes, I'm that kind of person that does that kind of thing. Right. And success, this is really important. I'm glad that we're talking about this today, because success comes when you start living as the person who already does the things that you say you want to do, or who already does the things when you become that person. So even before you start achieving it, you say you're that person. Even before you start, achieving it, you say, I'm that kind of person. I achieve, I do this. And that's very, very important, right? Act like the person that I want to be. Act like the person that you are. That is the most important thing. So I want to challenge you. And Alexander Blessing said, act like the person I want to be. That is exactly right. So I want you to take 30 seconds, right? I want to encourage you and write in the chat, say, I'm the kind of person who does something. So whatever it is that you have been procrastinating, whatever it is that you're not doing, I want you to like toss it in the chat. I want you to say it out loud. I want you to feel it and say, like, I'm the kind of person who, I'm the kind of person who's healthy and I meal prep all the time, and I plan my meals. Or, I'm the kind of person who I'm choosing to crush my day every day. And so then that takes away like defeat or laziness or not waking up or not doing your thing. So I want to just encourage people, whoever in the chat, to just like say it, to own it, and maybe you encourage someone else to say it. And Pandora said that mind shift is really important. I agree. That's exactly what it is. When you start acting like the person that you want to be, it's where it starts. Akachi says, I'm the kind of person who doesn't take no for an answer. Yes. And that shows resilience, persistent determination, all the things. I like that a lot. So that's how, and I want to tell you, Kachi, that's you are rewiring your brain for success. So you're like, I'm taking no is not an answer. I'm not taking defeat. I'm going to do whatever I need to get the yes answer, because you know that you're capable. You know that you can do it. You know that you can show up. And that is wonderful. So now, I wanted to go through some real strategies, right? Because it's one thing to talk about it and to get excited and motivate you, but it's another thing to like take action, right? Because I think that's the next step. And I think that's the most important thing. So I want us to come up with like a few strategies, even when you don't feel like it. So the first one is something that is like the 2-minute rule or the 5-minute rule. If you think 2 minutes is too small, say 5 minutes. So Pandora said, I'm the kind of person who sees tough tasks and chews them raw. I like that. That is awesome. Like that's the attitude where, and I'll talk about that a little bit. So then Pandora's not afraid of challenges. She's not afraid of the unknown because she's like, yes, I'm that kind of person who like, I will figure it out by any means necessary. And Alexander said, I'm the kind of person who's consistent and disciplined. Yep. And imagine if then that's who you are and that's how you show up at work. That's how you show up at home. That's how you show up in your relationships. That translates and that like trickles and people see that as you embrace that. So I love that. Okay, let's go back to you can call it the 2-minute rule or you can call it the 5-minute rule, but make it easy to fail, right? Like make it really, really easy. So on days that you don't feel, on days that you don't feel motivated, you feel very unmotivated, just commit to 2 minutes or 5 minutes to that task. So I'll give you an example, right? If you don't feel like working out, just work out for 5 minutes. If you don't feel like writing, right? Let's say you write, you want to write a book or you write a lot of copy and today you just feel like, I just really don't feel like writing content today, right? Just write for 2 minutes or write for 5 minutes. What ends up happening is that 99% of the time, I'm not going to say 100%, but 99% of the time, you will end up doing more once you start. So like that 2-minute workout, you end up doing 30 minutes. And that, 5-minute content that you wanted to write or that chapter you wanted to write, you end up writing 2 or you end up writing for an hour. But imagine if you just started. And so that is where you start taking consistency and start putting action behind it and start putting strategy behind it. So another way to do it is to track your progress. So I told you about the 2-minute or the 5-minute, whichever one you want. But the next thing I want you to do is track your progress and try to never break the chain where, we make mistakes and we forget, you might miss a day, but that's okay. But when you use a habit tracker to track your daily progress, right, then the likelihood of you failing is a lot less. And we are currently working on a habit tracker for our community. So we will share that with you once it's ready. Get excited. But, when you see all your streaks of winning, right, or all your streaks of doing, all your streaks of taking action, it keeps you motivated and you don't want to break it. And remember, I told you like motivation sometimes fails, right? But if you are looking at a tracker that's like you're pumped, you see every day you're crushing it, you're gonna inspire more motivation in you. So instead of it dying, you're actually bringing it to life. So Jerry Seinfeld has this thing that he says like the don't break the chain method, right? And so when you write down your goal or write down your plan, just put an X on a calendar for every day that you don't break the chain. And so just imagine like a calendar on your wall or in your office or like back there, and you just like mark an X every day. That's very, very important. Now, I talked about the 2-minute, the 5-minute rule. I also talked about habit tracker, like tracking your habits. This is probably maybe my favorite, and it's accountability, right? Tell someone your goal. Studies have been done that shows that you're 65% more likely to stick to a goal if you share it with someone or if somebody's keeping you accountable, and vice versa for that other person. But you could even take it a step further and make a financial bet, right? So like 91% of people are more likely to stay committed when money's on the line. So like I remember we did this I was in this workout group and we had to put, I think it was $50 every month, and at the end of the month, like whoever won would that money that all of you put in the pot, then they would split it among the winners. So you obviously know, right? Because I was like, oh, I want. And now I worked so much harder, so much more. I worked a lot harder because I was like, I want to win. So so when you put money behind it, people are more motivated. But regardless, get an accountability partner. That's very important. And then the last one I think is just as important is that sometimes we have decision fatigue because we don't know what to decide. And so sometimes if you plan ahead, you can help yourself out, right? So the more choices that you have to make, the easier it is for you to back out, or it's just easy for you to like say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. So imagine if you said, I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat better, right? And then the night before, you pulled out all your workout clothes and you laid it on the bed, or you laid it on your nightstand, or better yet, you went to bed in your workout clothes because the next morning, you're just going to slip your feet into your shoes and go running. Or imagine if you like spent maybe Sunday afternoon and you just meal prepped for the week, and then tomorrow, Monday evening, after a long day at work, instead of like eating ice cream or ordering takeout. You could just pull out a meal that you already meal prepped. So just think about how you can make your life easy, right? So that is just kind of when I talk about strategy, I think it's always important to lay out the foundation. But I'll say this, pick one. You don't have to do all of them. If accountability is your thing, then do that. If if you're having decision fatigue, then decide early so that you don't have a reason to stop you from like being the best you that you can be. But pick one. You can start with one and then go from there. And then, so kind of thinking about, I wanted to, as we wrap up, we have a few more minutes, right? How can you put this into action? So I always try to I want us to leave, and it's always on a Monday so that you can push yourself the rest of the week, right? So pick, I want to encourage you, or I want to challenge you because it's a challenge, right? Pick one habit that you want to be consistent with this week. Pick one thing and just say, I'm going to shoot for this and I'm going to try to do it 5 days a week or 7 days a week. And then I want you to pick the 2 minute or the 5 minute rule when you don't feel like it. So, and I'm going to keep myself accountable, and I will let you guys know next Monday if someone reminds me, but I'm going to work out 5 days this week, and I'm going to start with the 2 minute rule. And I promise you that I'll probably end up doing way more than that, but I am committing to do that, and I will track my progress and I will let you guys know on Monday. So if there's something that you want to share with the group, that you want to take action on, just help each other's like encourage us. Let's encourage you, and do that and share with someone, share. And that's another, also by sharing, you're also getting accountability and you're also keeping someone else accountable. So toss it in the chat, whatever that is. I'd love to hear it. But I hope that you're thinking about how you can be more consistent. Motivation is great. Consistency is what takes it to the next level. And so kind of as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final thought. Motivation is great, but motivation is temporary. Consistency creates transformation. Consistency is what creates change. And the people who win, they are the ones who always show up. They are the ones that no matter what, they're like, I'm going to show up, even when they don't feel like it, even when they have a wonderful excuse, they're still saying, no, I'm going to show up. So that's what I want to end with. And I just want to kind of leave you with that thought in your mind. It's Monday. Just imagine what your week would be like if you said, this week, I'm choosing consistency. I'm going to pick, I'm going to pick one strategy. I'm going to implement it, and I'm going to see how it's going to make my week better. Right. So that's that. Thank you so much for being here. Come back next week for another Monday Momentum. I'm gonna jump to the chat in a second to see if I can answer any questions, but drop one takeaway that you're gonna take away from this week. Drop a takeaway that you're gonna take away from this week, and then go from there. And I want to challenge you. If you do something, if you do something at all, I want you to tag me online or DM me, and you can even tag Monday Momentum, or look for me and tag me, or you can use a hashtag and just like challenge yourself and say, I really want to encourage you guys. Just imagine if you said, I'm going to be consistent, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do the things that I need to do to move me to the next phase of growth, whether it's personal, professional, or any part of your life or career. So I want you to go and have an amazing week. But I think I'm going to jump to the questions real quickly. I see, how long does it typically take? Grace said, how long does it typically take for you to be consistent before you see noticeable results? How do you stay patient with yourself through that process? That's good. So studies have shown that if you can do something for 21 days, you are more likely for it to stick and for it to become routine. So I would challenge you that whatever it is, let's do it for 21 days. Like whether it's exercise, whether it's eating, whether it's reading a book, whether it's thinking of a business plan, whether it's taking action on something. But I want you to imagine if you did it for 21 days, you're going to be able to stick to it. So, Pandora said, I want to be accountable with my feeding habit. Alexander said, I want to be accountable with the reading. I love that. And Kachi said, create a system create a system beyond emotions. I love that because emotions are tied to motivation, which then only take you so far. Awesome. Does anyone have any, we did great with time today. Does anyone have any last minute questions or comments? Okay, great. I see the question. Thank you for pulling the question out. I like that. Now I'm following. I see where things are. Okay. If there are no more questions, everyone have a wonderful Monday, and I can't wait to hear how you crushed your week next week. Bye, everyone.